honestly, there's a lot of things that I felt unprepared in life for. And you don't really know that you need these things until it hits you. And I just want to share with you some of the lessons that I've learned on the way. First is understanding that you might not actually be that far behind. Because if you look at life, there's so many things to learn. And whenever I talk to people, it's like everyone already knows how to do everything. And they also talk in such a way like I should have known how to do it, but I don't. Which just made it feel worse because now I feel bad about myself. And this was until once after I started asking them much deeper questions because I have no idea what's going on. But then they honestly couldn't answer my questions other than that's how my dad did it. And then this is when I started thinking, oh, so you don't actually know how everything works. You just copied what your parents did. And then that's when I realized that they actually don't know that much more than me. So I went on YouTube, took me like a week, and then now we're on the same level. So what I'm basically trying to say is that sometimes on the outside, everyone seems like they have everything together, but realistically, they might be just like half a step more than you. But if you really let things get down on yourself, then you won't get there. So keep trying. If you're looking to become a man that knows their way around the world, hit that subscribe button. Next is one of the things that I thought was very important, and if I had to learn things again, I'd probably learn this first. And this is how to not feel overwhelmed. Because when you start, there's just so many things that you have to do, you don't even know where to start. And it is very easy to feel paralyzed and overwhelmed. And this is where you just have to take a deep breath and just take the next step. Like, how do you run a marathon? One step at a time. Because every time you look up, you're going to feel very discouraged about how much longer you have to run. This is why you don't want to ever think about how many things you have to do. Just focus on one single thing at a time and do that step well. Apply to one job at a time. Learn to make one dish at a time. As long as you keep moving, you'll eventually finish. So put your focus on the next step. Next, if you can't do something, break it down into smaller parts. Like if you don't know how to cook a complete meal yet, focus on just cooking the meat and buy like pre-packaged vegetables or rice. And then once you feel more comfortable about the meat, now you can learn how to cook the vegetables and then the rice. Break things down into smaller components. If you have difficulty with time management, just start by being on time. Set an alarm to study at a certain time, and when the alarm goes off, physically get yourself there. But you don't actually have to study if you don't want to, because right now you're focusing on the smaller component of just being on time. And once you're being consistent on being on time, now you can start adding other studying components to it. So remember, if you can't do something, break it down or find an easier version of it to do. And then gradually work your way back up. Last is learning how to manage disappointment. Personally, I feel like one of the most difficult things that you have to do is learning how to manage disappointment. Because I promise you, there will be a lot of times in your life where you're like, man dude, I try as hard as I can. And you think everything is perfect and it's going to work, and it doesn't. Your career, relationships, vacations, you name it. And that is really just going to sink you into a hole where you don't want to do anything. This isn't a matter of if it happens, it will happen. And now it's about you finding a way where you can effectively cope with it. People that have not developed a plan for this end up going to alcohol, drugs, clinical depression, binge eating, self-sabotage, which are all pretty bad ways of dealing with this, especially rage room. I mean, it's a little better, not really. But you need to develop a way where it's healthy for you to actually cope with the situation. Personally, I just tell myself that this feeling that I'm having right now, it will eventually pass, because nothing stays forever. And yeah, it's gonna take a little while to go through the whole process, but it works. And this is why developing your own emotional intelligence is so important, so you don't get crushed by disappointment. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about these tips, and I will see you in my next video.